Hello? Is my sound working?
Hello, Joe.
Hey man, how are you doing?
Fine.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Started the TDD series. It's-
Yeah,
I said I've
inside
started the
inside
TDD.
school?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's giving me a lot of insights on some things I overlooked before.
Yeah,
So before
yeah, go ahead.
I used to think mocks are all the same. I didn't know they were like differences between the fake and the mocks. But now I have a clear understanding of the difference between fake and mock.
Oh, okay, that's
I
interesting.
used to confuse them before.
That's interesting.
Hi,
Yeah.
Hey man, how are you doing?
fine, and you?
Good, thank you. What were you working on this week?
I
Me?
have a question. I have an issue with photos. I don't know if you have any idea. I am having a problem that I'm launching the Get Content launcher to select a photo from the gallery.
Okay.
And then when I select it, I have the URI, and at this point, I can see the photo. What I did, I saved this URI in the database. When I relaunch the application again, I cannot see anymore. It's giving me an error.
What's the error you are getting? I assume.
Although I require all permission to read photo and content. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I was assuming that probably you need permissions to read.
Yeah, I have this permission that in the manifest, and then I prompt it also when I start the application, but still, I just get the photo when I select it from the gallery, then it's correctly displayed on the device. But if I kill the app and start again and try to load the photo again with the based on the URI that I got, I didn't.
So let me ask you this. Are you using a library to display the photos by using the URI?
I am using Coil Library to display the URL.
Got it. So you set
So
as
it's
data, you pass the URI, and it should find the
yeah, I
image.
pass the URI to the library, to the Coil library,
Hmm.
and then it reads normally when I select immediately from the gallery, and then it load it normally from the in the uh, in the app. But now, what I did when I select it, I also save the URI in the database when I select it, because when I select him, I'm launching this Get Content launcher to open the gallery, and then at the result, I'm getting the URL, and this URL I'm passing to the core library to show the photo.
Um, so when you get this from the photos, when you get this URI, is it a thumbnail or is it an access to the actual image?
Is it? It's an access. It's a URL. URI.
Yeah, but URI,
URI.
like you can get URI if you remember back in the days where you can query. Uh,
Mhm.
like by using the content provider, you can specify whether you want thumbnail, whether you want the full size picture, those things. So I'm just thinking, because there is difference between the two, maybe the permissions, because they were doing recently changes. So have you tested on different device API versions as well?
No, I just tested on, I think it was Android 11 on my emulator.
So try to create different emulators, because I think, for example, in the latest one, they in the latest, for example, Android 15, they added additional things in the permissions. So like try to test in different levels so that you can spot differences. And also in the debug, or like if you are using some logging, make sure that you are having the same URI that you are storing in the database is the one that actually works when it displays. So maybe hard code it and see if that's gonna work then. So I don't think the database, actually insertion in the database makes something like an optimization of some kind. But I don't, I wouldn't assume so. It just puts as a string.
Yeah, it's just a string that I'm putting it in the database and then just read it.
And then when you are displaying again from the database, do you convert it again to a URI?
Maybe it could be.
Because you should do URI.parse and then pass the string that comes from the database and pass that to Coil, I think.
I think so.
That's one. And then also like make sure, as I mentioned with the permissions, they were adding different levels in the recent OS versions. Just check.
I will check in the code when I am saving is what I'm saving from the database. Maybe I'm not saving the URI.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm not passing. Maybe I forget to pass when I'm getting back from the database. I will check in the code. I will check in the code what I'm having there.
If you want, we could look into it, but yeah, as you wish. For today, I was thinking of like maybe to create some sort of agenda and see, I mean, despite asking the questions and answering the questions, I was just thinking out loud if we can create some sort of agenda as to like what we want to work on next. So that we have some sort of goal that we are aiming towards. Does that make sense?
Yes, for me it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Let me share my screen. Anyone can confirm if it's shared, although it should be working. And then let me make it bigger. Yeah. Okay. So for the new folks here, the idea is that we start each call, each session with questions. So if somebody has a question or a blocker or something that you need quick answer, or like if you think we can get through something easily, now is your chance to ask questions. And if there are no, like we can actually spend the whole session answering questions, that's fine. But if there are no questions, usually we work on some code and then we like look into what's going to be interesting to work on. So at any point of time, just don't even have to raise your hand, just ask if you need anything right now.
Yeah, hello Joe.
Yeah.
That the failure I was having in my CI/CD pipeline because of the update on on my manifest. So I raised a support request ticket to Google, and they were saying I'll have to upload the bundle manually before the form come out, before the form for foreground service.
Yes.
it's gonna come out. So that's the workaround they said I should use. I think I saved it. Let me share it in the
Yeah,
chat.
the initial upload must be manual.
No. They said I've already my CI/CD pipeline is working. So when I moved to the new when I applied the updates they requested for, so now when I pushed to Play Store, it didn't push because of the permissions, because of the foreground services. So you said I should use a library and that will go away. But I was just curious. I wanted to know, okay, if I want to still do this my own way, how do I go about it? So I raised a service request ticket, and let me just forward something to the chat. So this was the reply they gave to me.
You dropped something in the chat, or?
Oh, you can't paste images here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can't paste images here. So, but they just said I should upload the bundle manually again before the form comes out to declare foreground services. So if anybody's having challenges with that, I think that's the workaround you could use.
Yeah. Okay. Well, makes sense, right? I mean, I haven't had that particular issue, but it makes sense. Like if they are asking you to reapply manually, but also keep in mind that this week Google Play Store had also hiccups and they were rejecting everything. So be aware of that too.
Yeah. And my own was prior to this week. So
yeah.
I will do by Saturday. I scheduled that one for Saturday. I'll do that on Saturday.
Cool.
But for now, I'm doing the testing. I'm on the testing series. It's going very well so far.
Yeah, we are gonna just about add more into that, right? So
Yeah.
here, let me share. Let me create a file. We are gonna name this Android devs agenda, maybe. So first, we need to work on the sign up. I'm gonna make a little introduction for the new folks about the application. So the sign up, let's put this Android devs up. So in the sign up, we have to do the UI. We also have to do the communication. So like we have two choices: to start from the contract test and work backwards from the API calls, or work from the view model towards the like from the screen, from the UI. So like we have to do that. So how do I name this? Do the BL from top down or backwards, or then once we do the sign up, we can look into conditional navigation when signed up, basically. Let me move it that way. When signed up, we open main, we open timeline. Otherwise, welcome. Something like that. And then we can think about the timeline. How does this look to you? So for the new folks, this is a repository, open source, an application that we're building here together, where we are actually trying different things, learning things together, like test-driven development, UI tests, modularization, Jetpack Compose, all those things are in at once. Yeah. To make a little demo of the app, do I have it here? I don't have it here, so let me run it. Another thing that I noticed when I was preparing this call is that I wanted to make the tests run like the unit tests, because right now we have in some of the features, like in the login, we have screenshot tests. And the screenshot tests are taking a bit too much time. So I was actually thinking how I can exclude only these tests when I execute the micro tests. So what I have to do is change here the configuration to do what I want actually to do is change the configuration to execute only for this Gradle setup to exclude them, because I can easily exclude them here in the test options in the build Gradle to say, okay, don't run tests or classes that are having screenshot in the name. But I don't want to do that because I want this. This is basically, it's going to affect my CI/CD. I don't want that. It's only locally. So I was digging into that, but I didn't manage to succeed. If somebody has an idea, let me know. And here on the right-hand side, we have the app. We have a login screen that works. And basically, we are about to build the sign up. So as I said, we have two ways to do this. We have, oh, this is also to do. Okay, cool. We have two ways to do that. Start from the business logic and actually from the contract tests and work backwards. Or we can start from the view model and actually do the UI first in Compose. So what do you prefer? Want to start with the UI first? Type 1 in the chat. Want to start from the business logic? Type 2 in the chat. Of course, we are not going to do everything at once, just saying, but we have to start from somewhere. One vote. Okay. Madeline, good to see you, man. Hope you are having a bit more free time now.
Not actually. Hello, everyone.
No.
Good to see you again.
You've been very busy lately.
Yeah, I will leave the session in 20 minutes, I think. But I have a short break. But I just wanted to jump in and to see you.
Nice, thank you. Okay. So how about we start from the UI then? Because like voted first. Cool. And we are having that here first. So yeah. So what we need in the UI is to actually have, for the sign up, we need to have pretty much the same things as the login, like email and password, maybe a little bit more about the user. So like something simple, just to get going. Okay, if there are no any questions just yet, we can start working on this. Cool. So, meanwhile, if somebody gets an idea how we can exclude running the paparazzi tests from the micro tests, you are just unmute and let me know. Cool. So what we have as of sign up, we are having a feature here that has navigation to it because we have modularized setup. The navigation is held inside the feature module itself, which actually defines how we are going to navigate to particular screen. So it holds it's an extension function of the nav builder. Internally, it sort of encapsulates the composable. We are using the new navigation library, the newest version, I think. If you check the TOML, let's make this smaller. Compose navigation version, we are using the release candidate 1, which means we have the safe arcs working. And yeah, that's it for now. So only we have on Navigate tab. So if I actually navigate to the sign up, we only have this button working, which causes that on Navigate tab. And then we have an extension function on the nav controller to navigate to this sign up, actually to encapsulate this navigation call. And then here we can do additional things if we need to. For example, pop the backstack up to a certain point, let's say after successful sign up. Although we wouldn't have to do it here, but we have that possibility, for example. Things like that. And they're gonna be nicely encapsulated. So from the application perspective, I think it is called main app, is the composable that where we held the root navigation and where everything is being sort of coordinated. We can simply define the screens here, like what are the screens that we're having. And yeah, so we can do nested navigation if we need to. And then the navigation calls are quite kind of cool. So now we are having the welcome screen here. This is what we are seeing on the right hand side. On login, which is the click on the login button, we navigate to login. On sign up, we navigate to sign up. Then the sign up screen has on navigate up. And probably we'll have to expose later like what happens when we are signed up. So we have to navigate somewhere else, but that's not done yet. So we are going to look into that later. Okay. As of the screen itself, as we have discussed before, I prefer having a bridging composable, what I call bridging composable, where I'm injecting the view model and do the coordination with the navigation. And I am calling a composable which only takes in state and exposes events from it. So then we can actually write nice previews like so, without having to pass arguments that are hard to do, for example, a view model. Nice. Everything clear so far? Okay. Cool. Saif, let's maybe discuss a little bit at the end of the call the thing from the previous one. I actually have the project imported in Android Studio. I played a little bit with it, but maybe discuss about it a little bit later, if it makes sense.
Sure, Job, no issue. And I think we are looking at the type-safe navigation right now. I just joined, so I'm gonna catch up.
Cool.
Hello, Joe. Can you go back to the navigation logic? Can you please go through your navigation logic again? I didn't really get it.
This one.
I think there was one you opened before this. Okay. There's an extension function.
Or this
I
one.
saw you.
Okay, this one.
Yeah. Okay. Objects in routes.
Yeah, go ahead. Don't have to raise hands. Just unmute and shoot the question.
Yeah, so I can see you have you have created a extension function to add the sign-in screen. I have seen this before as well. Like it would be called add sign-in screen. So I want to know like what is the major reason or like thought process or major benefit of adding this, other than maybe a little bit of clean code, I would say.
Yeah, so the only thing, like the only reason behind is like, well, it's not one reason. There are more. So the first is I want to hold the actual navigation to the feature module because we have feature modules. So the logic about navigating to this module, I want to hold it here. So everything to be encapsulated, like this thing that we would actually have to put here. Otherwise, we will have to define composable. Now, my main app, which is part of my main module, where the activity and this navigation is being set up, we'll have to import this. In fact, I will have to make this public. So it's not a big deal, just like my preference to have that encapsulated. That's one.
Okay.
And the other one is that it gives me ability to actually have nicer names. So imagine if we had, for example, well, with the routes, we would have something like composable. And then here we would have route equals some route. So now the routes will be some sort of file that we will have to manage here again in this module somewhere, or expose the actual routes from the modules themselves. I mean, it's not like good or bad, it's just a preference, I would say. If this is like too much, I would say just go stick with this, with a composable, and then like not do the navigation the way you want. This way, I like it. I like to have these nice names, which are telling me which screen is what. And then also like this navigate to login, navigate to sign up is like more clear actually where the navigation is going to go, like what screen is being opened.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. And then here, as I said, we have the actual navigate call encapsulated, and if we have to happen, for example, that we need to, let's say after successful sign up, we have to pop the stack. Now this
I
is
think it's
SignUp,
make
of
also
course.
the NAFOS cleaner when you have a lot of, if you have a lot of destination that you have to handle. I think with this way, it's make also the NAFOS cleaner.
Yeah, correct. So if you let's say have nested navigation as well, then here you would have, for example, this timeline screen. Let's consider it. Timeline. Let me remove these things. Yeah. Timeline. Let me see if I have a preview of the timeline screen. Okay, something with a preview doesn't work. Okay, because it has what did I do? It has a view model, and here I'm trying to render the one with the view model instead. Mirza Ali. Thank you. So I should call this rather. What I have to pass on item clicked on forced logout, just to see the preview. So imagine now this timeline is, imagine that we're having a bottom navigation, right? Or in fact, let me open an app here so I can show you what I mean. So this is an application that I'm building at work. You see we have this bottom navigation as well. Now, this, like if this was the timeline in this project, then the timeline inside timeline navigation here, timeline screen will actually have again nav host that will have these 2 tabs or 3 tabs or whatever we need, and then it will handle its own navigation internally. Although we can have again split by feature. I mean, if we get to that point, it's gonna be cleaner, but for now, I don't know how I can explain it with easy words or with simple words, but basically it's gonna have its own navigation here, and from the perspective of this navigation, it will be just timeline screen, and the timeline screen internally has its own sort of nested navigation, which is not visible from here.
Yeah, I think you explained it pretty well. Java, I got what you were trying to explain here. Thank you.
Nice.
And I think this makes a little more sense in case if we have nested navigation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If let's say our yeah. Okay, thanks for explaining. You can continue.
Yeah, you're welcome. And what I wanted to say is also like sign up and login, they would like sign up is still not done. We were about to start working on it, but the login, for example, has on logged in, we navigate to timeline. When we are in the timeline, if we click back after logging in, we don't want to fall back to the actual login screen, and we want to clean the whole stack before. So we are at the timeline screen and we click back, we are logged in, we just exit the application. I can control that here. So like this pop up to 0 is going to pop up the whole thing when I click back. Now this is one way of doing it. There are different ways, but this is just to demonstrate what are the possibilities. Okay. Right. So here I just changed the preview. Okay, good. And right, let's now look into the signup. So as of the signup, it's just empty. It doesn't have anything. It's a box. Maybe we can also take some parts of the login. If you open the login screen, some of these concepts would be nice to have the logo. And yeah, the same fields basically. So how about here going with a column as well. What we are gonna need is, we can do that later, but basically we will need to be able to scroll vertically, because if the screen is in landscape or if it's like smaller screen, we'll definitely, or imagine the keyboard being opened, we are gonna need to be able to scroll. So let's have a vertical scroll here. Is remember scroll state, and here we are gonna pass it down to the modifier. Now this alignment no longer works, and that's okay, we don't need it. And then here what we are gonna do is, let's make this smaller, or maybe zoom it in once, and yeah, have it like that. Let's start with the logo, or maybe I can just take it like that. And now I can align this one to the center. What's cool about the modifiers is that it knows the hierarchy. So for example, if this image is part of a box, then in alignments, for example, we can use the scope of the box. So the box the alignment types that are available in a box. But now because we are in a column, we can use the alignments available in a column. So that's something interesting to be aware of. Okay, now what I don't like is that it is very much bound to the top. We have to move it a little bit down. One way to do it is adding padding. So we can make here, well, padding on the image is not gonna move the image down, but it's gonna actually squeeze inside the container of its own. So if this is the container, it's gonna make the image inside it smaller, I think. Let's give it a try. Up team size medium, for example. Well, no, okay. It moved it down. So what if I do large? Okay, that's fine. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to actually add padding on the column, because we'll need padding on the sides as well, probably. But let's see where that's gonna bring us. Now, also I can add spacing between the items in a column by passing here vertical alignment on a column as well. So let's imagine that I have here an email input. I need to pass an email. I need to pass, well, let's do one by one. Modifier is gonna be fill max size, max width. Then I have to pass email. We'll take a look at the state later. Then the rest is, yeah, I only need to provide the callback, like what happens when I have on email changed. And that's enough. The rest has it has lots of defaults. Now this is the padding that I talked about. Also, we are gonna need password input. But this time, instead of email, we need password. And we need on password changed. Nice. Now, what I wanted to say is, like, if I want to space this vertically, I can add vertical alignment, arrangement. And I can say arrangement spaced by, and then give it arbitrary value here. I'm gonna take it from the theme in this case, but yeah, it's gonna space them evenly. That looks nice. But what if I want to give a bigger space between the image and then smaller between these two? Then I can group these into another column, and then this spacing is gonna be applied between the image and that column. And then inside this column, I can have smaller spacer. For example. And what's cool about Compose is that if we nest it more, it doesn't affect the performance as it would if we had the XML, for example. So this one's gonna have a fill max width as well. We are gonna also have horizontal alignment to the center. And vertically, we are gonna do a theme, spaced by a theme size normal, like that. Now I can do horizontal padding on this, or I can do horizontal padding on the top column. So it depends on what you need at the moment. For example, if you had, in fact, it doesn't matter. So I can, for this one, we can use, we have padding values provided from the scaffold here. So we can either add additional padding here, or we could do on this one padding, let's say horizontal is going to be up theme size normal. Do we have normal on the login screen or large? Medium. So we can do the same here. Oops. Nice. That looks okay. Now we need one more field. Go ahead.
Jeff, can you go back to login screen? Sorry to cut you off. Okay, you copied the medium, and we also have a padding for, okay, that is for the image. Okay, got it. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, maybe
you have another padding around. You have a column around the image, and you have large padding. So I was confused by that.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. But this is around the image only.
Yeah. I think this is like, Yeah, maybe we could have copied. This has more legacy here, so like I don't see this as a necessary thing. But
Yeah. Okay, please
yeah, we
continue.
could do the same without it here. What's interesting though, when the keyword appears, if it cannot fit here, and we want to have some sort of spacing between the keyword and the last item, we can also add some padding here by using the IME padding. And because in this column we are gonna have the input fields, it's gonna work fine. Now here we need additional field. Now these email input and password input are custom created fields. And they are based, both of them are based on a more generic composable that we have created, and it's called text input or text field. But the text input, I think, and that was deliberately done, is private inside the module where the common composables are made. So probably we can create the same like generic composable or open this one, make it non-internal. So I am not sure, or I don't have enough arguments for which option to choose at this point of time. If somebody wants to have a suggestion, let me know what would you do in this case. Are you gonna make this underlying text input public? So because these ones, like the common composables, live in our core view. And now here we have the text input, and then we have the email and password input as like more sort of higher level abstractions that are based on the text input, that are having some defaults. And the idea is that either we can create one more of that for the about, because in this screen we also want to have a field where the user can type more about themselves, like some bio.
I think our design system can play a little role here. If let's say, if how I would approach is I would look at the design, let's say Figma, and I see I will need that field on two different or another screen as well. So I would go extend it from our basic input and making a separate composable. But if it is only on this screen and that's it, then I don't think I would go for that extra bit of work.
Yeah, the thing is probably somewhere inside the app we're gonna have a profile page where we can change things. But I'm not sure yet, so I don't know. So maybe like the cheaper price to pay now is to just open the text input. However, we have to document it somewhere that this was deliberate decision, and then when need comes, go ahead, man. Okay, probably you clicked it mistakenly. So what I'm saying is that maybe when the need comes, then we are gonna put this back to internal and create the more abstract composable here. For now, let's do this. Text input, then what we need is expand it across the width. Text gonna be something. On text changed is gonna be something. And we need to also provide here what else was there? I think label. Nice. And we can also pass down hint, I think. Yeah. maybe like bio. Cool, looks nice. And then eventually we'll need a button. So we are gonna, so take a look what I'm doing here. So I'm deliberately just dropping down the UI that I'm expecting to have. I don't care about the state just yet. So I do one thing at a time when I'm focused on one thing. Like now I just want to render how the UI is gonna be. When I'm happy with it, then I'm going to move on and do the state management. So that's an approach that works for me. Maybe it's something that might work for you too, because that way I found myself doing less work, less complicated work in the state, or less unnecessary work in the state, like things that I thought I'm gonna need, but I didn't end up needing them. Cool. And finally, I'm gonna add a primary button with a label sign. Well, I have already this. Okay, modifier fill max width, and label's gonna be string resource r string sign up. And what happens on click, I like more of named arguments rather than the lambda at the end, like that. So it makes it clear what happens or what stands for what. And on click, what we are gonna do is we are gonna call on sign up. And on sign up then would be a lambda that will come here. And we have to do something on sign up. So at this point we have nothing, but we are gonna do call the view model. Cool. Now this is simple enough. And on the other hand, I think pretty reasonable, pretty done. I don't think we need anything on top. All we need to do is manage the state now. And yeah, I'm just gonna run it for now to make sure the scrolling and the padding is working fine when the keyboard is open. I just want to clarify that. But other than that, it's okay. Of course, we'll need to write UI tests for this. Now, how about, as of the screenshot tests, we can leverage the previews and just drop them in a test, and that's it. But as of UI tests, I would rather put that in the agenda so that we don't forget. Nice. Okay. So this looks nice. Another thing that is important is that when we have such form like this, when we are, let's say, the email field, we want to be able to move through the fields naturally by using the keyboard. So like here, I am having this check mark, which is the done button. And yeah, it's gonna hide the keyboard by default. But what I wanna do is I want to be able to move to the next and to the next, which is what happens if I open the login. So I have email here, you see the button is different. So if I type something and click on it, it goes to the next field. All right. So wait a sec, why this button is different than here? Let me see what we have in the login. Oh, it is a button. All right, so this is not, okay, so it should be button that comes from, I mean, it's better if you're using our own buttons. And I see that the text is hard-coded here. Not cool. So let's fix this. We're gonna have a primary button. Modifier stays the same. On-click stays the same. It's just the label we need to change, and that's gonna be our string resource login. Cool, for consistency. That's what I want. Okay, that's fixed. The agenda, I'm gonna move it to the left. Now let's work on a state then. Or actually, let's do, it's still part of the UI to moving the move to the next. The way to do this is, first, we have to define what's gonna be the button that we want to appear on the keyboard. And to do that, we have to provide here keyboard actions. So the keyboard actions are default for the email. Like if I open here, keyboard actions are the keyboard actions default. What I want to do is I want to change that. So I'm going to provide keyboard actions. Oops, no. So the actions is actually what happens when we click. But to change the button, we have to provide keyboard options. But it's the same thing. I mean, similar concept. As of options, I'm going to say here, the IME action is going to be IME action next. That's all I need to do. And now here, as an action, like what happens for the actions, I have to sort of provide a on-click action for the next. So what happens on next? So the button is gonna be next, and what happens on next is I need to move the focus. I need to say something like password focus request. And the password focus is going to be focus requester. Oh, it's request focus. Cool. And now I have to, like, how do I associate the password focus with the password input? I have to pass it down in the modifier as focus requester. Make sense? It should. And then similarly, I need also about focus. Also focus requester. And then what happens when I'm done with the password? Again, I have to provide keyboard option. It's gonna be keyboard options with IME action next. And as an action, on next, I'm gonna call this time the about focus. And let's actually make it one line here as well. I think it reads nice, doesn't it? And finally, we have to associate focus requester about. But what happens when I'm done with the about, with typing the about? What happens? I want to actually have the done action. And when done, when I click on the done, I want to trigger the sign up. So here is a keyboard options. I'm gonna say IME action is going to be, and in fact, take a look at the API. It's very flexible. Like, we can provide many different things here, like capitalization, autocorrect. Like if you want to something custom to happen, we can do that here. This one should be done. And yeah, you can also take a look at different IME actions, like there is done, there is search, there is next, go, whatever. And in fact, maybe instead of done, we can do go here. And what happens when we do keyboard actions, on go, we are gonna do on sign up actually. So yeah, we have to call it in a lambda on sign up. Cool. Let's see how does that work now. The typing still doesn't work because we are not managing the state. Sign up. Oops. I'm not very sure what happened here. Rerun. Okay, that was a hiccup, it seems. Anyway, so now we have the next, and if we type, notice another thing here though. Here we don't have the regular email-y keyboard, which is like we don't have the @ like if we have for example back in the XML, like we can specify that this field is gonna be for email, and then like input type, and then the keyboard appears differently. The way to do it here is by again using the keyboard options and keyboard actions. So here we can say that the keyboard type is going to be keyboard type email, or if we want to have only numbers, or if we want to support, so different keyboard options, keyboard types are available here. I'm gonna go with email, and now it should appear differently. So sign up, and boom, we have the @ here. So if I type something, I can easily access the @. Now the click on the next moves to the next field. Again, next moves to the next field. And okay, so now here I have go, which might be a bit similar to this one. So I don't know whether we should go with the go or maybe with the done. How about done? So this is gonna be on done. That's gonna be more. Yeah. So done should trigger the sign up. Cool. All right. Now, because we are actually close to the end of the call, we're gonna wrap it up here. For the next call, what we can work on, actually do the state. So let's put that in the agenda just in case. The state, like define the state, and proceed with the BL and whatnot. Now the thing is, we can consolidate the state pretty simply here. Like we can create even a class and then see what's needed to be held in the state. Cool. So that's gonna be for this call, for this session. What I would do now is, because I promised to Saif, I'm gonna switch the project. So let's maybe commit this first. So we have the compose screen state. Oops, this is different project. Sorry. Okay, so we have this probably unused import. So nice cleanup. We have opened the text input. In fact, let's maybe commit them in separate commits. Opened the text input temporarily should be maybe add it as a description here. We should hide it again when we create more like about text input. That's it. Then what we've done, okay, this is something that I was playing with before. Here, fix hard coded text in login screen, and nope. Here, fix the preview. And here we have the sign up. Or maybe just cleanup. Introduce the basic sign up form. Cool. I'll push it so that if somebody wants to get these changes, they can get them. Now, let me close this and open this one. All right. Yeah, by the way, this is an app that I'm working at work. So yeah, I can show you a little bit about it. So I don't know if it's glitching on your side because of the video, but this is like nice sleek animation. And also like it supports email composition. So like you can reply to people here and then you can expand to full-time composer, like full screen composer. This is the actual feature that I'm working now currently. And it has lots of state here, as you can imagine. And like if you open the CC/BCC, like what I have to do next is like if you type here, now it is not editable, but it should support the same things that Gmail supports. Let me see if I have a Gmail here. And if it's set up, it's not. Okay, never mind. So like if you try to search for a contact on Gmail, it expands down, and if you select, it puts it, like you got the idea. So that's what I'm gonna be doing next. Anyway, to the issue. So what happens here in this project is we are having, like if I run, so we have splash null. If I click here, it's gonna start recomposing like crazy. Because it goes, you can see, maybe you can see that in the video, I don't know. Let's make it bigger. So the problem is that this block here is causing recompositions, but not to this screen only. It is causing recompositions on the actual nav host. So it goes back and forth between these two composables. So I've been playing with this a little bit to figure out what are the different things that we can do to prevent these recompositions. I mean, obviously, if we just use launched effect, everything's gonna work fine. But it was not clear what inside the launched effect is preventing the whole thing. So if we go inside the launched effect, in fact, let's put something here like unit. This is an interesting concept actually that happens. So it takes the current composer and it takes its context, which actually gives a possibility to sort of add tracking on the current values. So I'm not 100% sure, but what happens is that probably, like when we are using raw values, they are not tracked by the composer as they are when we have some things like launched effect. And then it passes down the context as well. And what has to happen further. So I tried also doing, for example, because we are relying on this is logged in, which comes from the state. I would create, let's say, variable should navigate, and I would say by remember, and then the remember takes keys as well, just like the launched effect. And here I can say is user logged in, is user logged. I can put that as a key. I can put unit as a key. And then here would be mutable state of, let's say, is logged in. And now here we can use that one. But we are going to experience, oh yeah, false. And this one could be val. Okay, nice. We're going to experience the recompositions again. At least that was what I was trying to play with before. Okay, this time it is not because I used unit here, so it does once. But if I use the is user logged, then the actual key is going to be changing. So we end up with the same recomposition issue. Okay. So I had some other bunch of ideas that I tried, but I forgot what I tried to keep talking and explaining now for some reason.
Yeah, I was going crazy over this as well and tried a bunch of stuff, but eventually, gave up and simply used the launch effect. I know it is the solution, like the best solution that should be in this case, but I'm still, it's back of my head to what's causing this. One thought that I had was maybe, I think maybe I have discussed this earlier as well, that the animation that happens due to the navigation, maybe that is causing the screen to recompose.
Well, definitely. So it is not one-time recomposition, but it shouldn't be jumping. So the thing is that like when we navigate, it may happen that the screen, like this composable is being called 2-3 times. But it causes recompositions. Yeah. And because like it looks like simply the raw values are, even you see like if you're using the concept of remember, it is not remembering the state outside of the composable. So even if like I tried, I think, remember savable, which should, I'm not sure it's gonna survive the recompositions.
Yeah, I think it does it, and I think it also survives the process death as well.
Yeah, so I think I tried that. I also tried derived state of. The problem is that this composable is being recomposed. So like it's not an issue with how we are storing the value here. It's more about the value coming from somewhere. Then I also tried, for example, view model cleanup, like on navigate. You see what I'm doing here? On navigate, I try to call to the view model cleanup, which will set back the initial value to false, which is this one, and then do on check complete. Essentially, like, let's try null. This one we can make it like nullable. And by default, it isn't. I mean, let's put here a default or initial. Oh no, it's here. I think we already do that. Yeah. So let's give this one a try. So when we are playing with the values, it was not working for sure. Let's see for null. No, it's the same. It doesn't matter. So yeah, we can use, or we should use, any sort of effect, like launched effect, disposable effect, to do this navigation. Or simply, yeah, I think even if you are collecting, because this is shared flow, it's shared flow of Boolean, we can collect it as a flow and do the action, but again, we should wrap it into launched effect. And then we can do the collection here, like by view model is logged in collect. Then when value comes in here, we can do if is logged in true, because it can be null, then do the navigation. And now this one is not even needed, I think.
Yeah.
So this is one way, or another way is to, so we no longer need this, or another way is, actually let's move it here, to do the launched effect and pass here again unit, and then we can say here if is logged in true, basically take this one on check complete. So apparently you brought a very good question that brought lots of thoughts, and maybe some thinking like, why is this? Because we always took it for granted. Okay, this works, cool, but why this works and why the other thing doesn't work? So digging deep to understand what's happening is worth taking a look, actually. So now we have both working fine. Okay. In comment one.
Joe, can you try with the second one only, the one that you commented?
Yeah. Okay, this one again is not working. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think because we are not, let me see. We're not doing the cleanup, it seems.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think we are triggering the launch effect only once when we enter the screen, because we are calling it with unit, and even though the is user logged in state changes, that effect is not being triggered again. If we pass is user logged to the launch effect instead of unit, maybe that would work.
Oh, this one you mean? Yeah, correct. Because like what happens when you pass? Yeah, correct. Yeah. When we pass unit, when this composable is called the first time, which is setting up the navigation, the nav host, it executes once. It sees that the initial value is null, which is other than true. It is not executing this block, and that's it. So then when this value changes, this one is not gonna re-execute because of this. That was a good catch, yeah. It was my bad. This should work fine.
Yeah.
And perhaps the same should have been done here. Or no, actually. Here it should be like that, I think. But we also have to do the cleanup, I guess. So here we should do the cleanup. Okay, this is interesting. So why? So maybe this is the answer to the whole puzzle. Is logged in. Shared flow.
It means I think maybe we have got something new. It means the same value is being triggered again, right? Like even we did the cleanup as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but still you saw in the locket we are getting through. So
Yeah.
again I'm getting confused. Like
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, because I'm running out of ideas, I didn't have the time to dig deeper. If somebody
no issue.
or has
I think
more insights, maybe Madeline has met this before. Yeah, everybody's welcome to comment. Cool. But yeah, let's conclude the call for today. It went like 15 minutes off. Doesn't matter. It's fine. So yeah, thanks for the time and attention, guys.
thanks, yeah, for taking a look at this as well.
No
Appreciate
worries. Yeah, I did
Yes.
some digging, but yeah, I didn't get up like 100% why this is happening. But I am assuming that when we are using raw values, the composer is not keeping track of those. That's why we need a launched effect. I mean, any kind of effect. All right. So yeah, have a nice evening. Tomorrow we have
Yeah,
the pro call for the pro members, and on Friday we have another of these calls. So we are gonna try to continue working on the code if you don't have anything else, like another request. Cool.
Okay, Joe. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Okay, guys. Have a nice day. Bye.